Crazy. All right, you guys, we are officially recording, so don't say anything you'll regret. Dawn.
I'm going to mute me. I'm muted.
Mute yourself. There you go. All right. Okay. There's so much that I feel like we could just verbal diarrhea all over this call, but we're not going to. So I have recruited a couple people to help share their biggest nuggets from Summit. You guys probably saw a lot of it. There was so much enthusiasm, so much crazy energy, and it's been a really fun comparison for me personally since my last Summit was 4 years ago in Vegas, and coming to Nashville and having 25,000 coaches compared to maybe the 10,000 that were in Vegas a couple years ago. Oh my goodness, how it's changed. And it's really, really exciting to be a part of something and watch it evolve and watch them just improve and enhance and see all these people that are equally energized. So I'm going to draw a bunch of our coaches that were at Summit, and so you can get some nuggets from them. So you guys make sure you get some notes because everyone's going to give you something to take away tonight. So something that you can implement is going to be shared, okay? So mine really quick because I know that there's some other subjects that are going to be covered by our other coaches. My biggest takeaway is you need to be at these events, okay? I know everyone's nodding their head, and so many of you guys have got your tickets already for Summit next year. Don't miss these events. So, and I understand that there are other issues that come up along the way, and that's totally understandable. Have the intention of being at these events. And if Summit is just not possible for you for whatever reason, I know that we've got a lot of families and just stuff in life, and that's okay. But if you make the commitment to attend these events, your business will grow. And that leads me to registering for Super Saturday. It is on Saturday, the 6th for most. I know most of you registered and said that you're going, or you can watch it live stream. So I want you guys to commit to going to these events. So there's always corporate events that are happening around the country. And if there's one that comes to your town or city, you should go, because being around these coaches that have as equal amount of integrity and drive and determination to move their business will really help you grow personally and validate what we're doing. So my takeaway is go register for Super Saturday. Unless you're doing a size certification, then I guess you can't be there. Sorry. But if it's not in your, Zach Carla? Yeah. And if it's not in your area, then you can live stream them. So there'll be a live streaming option for everybody. So these events are super important. If you're still on the fence about Summit, then I want you guys to really just go for it. You can get the transferable ticket still. It's $175 because if something comes up, because, you know, that's life, but don't buy it with the intention of, you know what, I can return it or I can transfer it. Go with the intention of, I'm going all in. I want to make my business something that I know that it can be. I want to be that person on the stage. I want to go and have that goofy fun and see what all this epic coach hoedown of business is all about that transpired at Summit. Because relationships are building. You become connected with your team. You become connected with other coaches. You find those that you align with, and you want to jog with them. You want to sprint with them. You create success partnerships. You create challenges amongst one another. I mean, it's a relationship that just is hard to explain that happens when you're at these events. Okay, so that's my takeaway. I'm going to jump to Colin. If you are there, buddy, are you there?
I am.
Yay! I'm going to mute myself so you can hop on. And you guys, let me quickly introduce Colin. He is he's a rock star diamond coach. And I got a chance to meet Colin. And I wouldn't have met him if it hadn't been for Summit, because he is a downline coach of mine through one of my personals. And he's up in Canada in the Great White North killing his business. He took ownership of his business and connected with other coaches in his market to grow his business and get to where he's at. He didn't blame his upline. He didn't blame his upline star diamond. He took ownership and did it and said, you know what? I really want to make something of it. And the fact that I got to hug the guy, I got to meet his team. I'm just so excited that I got a chance to meet Colin, and I want you guys to hear what he took away from Summit. So I'm glad that you'd be willing to share with us tonight.
No problem. Well, thank you for that introduction. I have to live up to it now. Um, this was actually my fourth summit. Went to two in Vegas and now the second time in Nashville. And so kind of like Taryn mentioned, I've seen the evolution of it. My first summit in 2013, there was about 7,500 people compared to the 25,000 this time. I have three top things, and the top one is always the same for me per summit, and that has been the people and getting to meet so many people in person. That has always been the life changer for me, like the big impact. From my first summit of, because my full-time job is as a police officer here in Winnipeg, central Canada. And so unfortunately, as a police officer, you deal with a lot of negativity and the dirt of society. So coming to Summit when you are surrounded 100% by positive people is huge. And it's so hard to put that into words for somebody that hasn't been to Summit, because you can say over and over and over again, you got to get to Summit, but until you're actually there and experience that energy and that vibe, it's really hard to comprehend. And for me, I had 3 of my own personally sponsored coaches with me this time, and that was a first for me. And so for this Summit for me was all about sharing in their excitement at being at Summit. So that was my first big takeaway. The second one was I actually had the opportunity to hear Scotty Hobbs speak at a smaller event just before Summit started. And one of the things that I'm just reading my notes here that I made at the time. And one of the questions that he asked that really hit home for me was, do I live to be the best me, or do I work hard to meet the expectations of others? And that really hit home for me because oftentimes when I am posting on Facebook, whether it's specifically about Beachbody or sharing my own personal journey, more often than not, when I'm crafting those posts, I'm thinking about how this post is going to, or am I posting this for the people that are close to me and what their opinion is of what I should be doing and how I should be running my life. And I think because I've done that more often than not, I haven't really been, like Sean T said, very as transparent as I can be. And I think it's important to be transparent like that to build that trust with the people that we are communicating with on a daily basis through social media posts and through one-on-one. Because for someone to open up to us and share their struggles, why they are continuing to put on weight, why they can't lose the weight, why they have addictions, those are hard, deep, personal things to share with somebody. And if we haven't had the time to build that relationship with them, it's going to be hard. So the more transparent we can be on social media, and be the real us, the real you, I believe the more that people will be able to trust us and open up to us and be more open to joining our challenge groups. So that was my number 2. If I'm going too long, Taryn, just let me know. Awesome. And then where's the other one here? Kind of along the same lines, I was in Blue Track Hall C, and I heard Amy Silverman and Bonnie Engel talk. And 2 very successful coaches, but 2 very different people. And if you follow either of them on Instagram or Facebook, they have 2 very different types of approaches to running the business in terms of their personality and the type of posts that they have. But they both shared along the same lines of being yourself. It's not about being interesting, it's being relatable. And when you look at some of the top coaches within the business, they take the day-to-day stuff that we do that in reality is boring, and they make it interesting and relatable. Whether it's folding laundry or driving to school to pick up your kids or going grocery shopping or cooking a meal, because we all do those things every day, but they take it and they put a spin on it that makes it relatable. And more often than not, they add a touch in about coaching. And that was a big takeaway for me. And I've really started to apply that in the last few days of being back from Summit with my posts. And already, because I've started to apply that, I've seen a lot more response and interaction in that. And I'm going to add a bonus point in because of Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm actually absolutely in love with. I have a man crush on Gary V. He is awesome. And he said some amazing points, and I could go over them all, but the biggest one is that need to respond to every single comment on your posts in Facebook and in Instagram. And because that goes back to what I was saying earlier, it fosters those relationships. For somebody to actually take the time and stop and read your post while scrolling through Facebook is huge. And then if they actually stop and take the time to put a comment on it, that's even bigger, because we all have the habit of scrolling through. Oh, that looks nice. Click on the like, scroll through. If you're on Instagram, double tap, and you go on to the next one. But to actually take the time to comment, even though that takes 5 to 10 seconds of their day, that is really big. So it shows that level of appreciation and interest in them when we take the time to respond. And again, I've been doing that since hearing Gary V on Friday. I've started doing that in Summit and since, and I've seen a massive amount of increase in interaction on all my posts, all the different reactions and comments. So it's been huge. So that's my top 4 takeaways.
Awesome. I would say that maybe the call to action could be for people to start going back to any of their Instagram posts and responding, or Facebook stuff, because it's so true. People take the time to comment, and I think that goes right in line with our 4th vital behavior is recognition. So they are recognizing that you saw their comment and that you took the time to respond back to them. So I think that's huge, and I love Gary, and that's why I said I wanted to go all Gary V on everybody. So yeah. Thanks for sharing, Colin.
You're welcome.
Let's see who's next. Hey, Julie, are you there, girlfriend? I'm gonna wait a minute. She might be trying to figure it out.
Yes, I'm here.
Goody. Well, let me share a quick thing about Julie. Julie just got reelected in her town as township
treasurer, not mayor, Dawn. Treasurer.
Yeah, well, we think you'll be the mayor in our eyes. So, so a big round of applause to Julie, because that was a big deal. So, she got reelected as of yesterday, right? It ended last night. So that was a big deal for her. Another thing you guys need to know about Julie is Julie was one of my loyal customers for many, many years. We discovered it's been 7 years that we have been together, and we just met for the first time in Nashville, like literally the first time. And it was so riveting, and the explosion of emotions to be able to meet Julie for the first time in that many years. That's the kind of stuff that happens. And so it was really, really cool. But she had some really great takeaways because everybody went and did their own thing. They went to the breakouts that were important to them, that they wanted to improve upon themselves for their business. So I wanted to pull Julie in and see if she could share. So she is going to tell you what she walked away with and give you some takeaways.
Okay, great. Thanks, Taryn. First of all, Colin, thanks so much for your service. I know you're not here with us, but you know what? That's awesome. Thanks so much for your service. I appreciate that, keeping everybody safe. And yes, Summit, it was my first year. I started out as a discount coach, so I didn't go. I made all the excuses, blah, blah, blah. But to try to give that excitement to everybody of what Summit actually meant, almost impossible. I sobbed I laughed. I mean, it's just so emotional, and the friendships, the connections that are made there, you don't get it like on this type of format. A person to person is pretty incredible. So I'm forever thankful for meeting Taryn, Dawn, Christine, Kristen, and I personally sponsored. We rode down together 9.5 hours down in the car on the way there and way back. So we had great bonding. It's just a fabulous experience. So I've got 3 takeaways as well. Number 1, this came from Melanie Mitchell, our 2-time top coach, and her presentation was absolutely dynamite, like spot on, in your face, real, working in the trenches. She doesn't have any secrets. Well, maybe with the exception of one. Her secret is this: outwork your competition. I mean, she was brutally, brutally honest. She said, I work this business 7 days a week. 7 days a week. It might not be for hours and hours and hours, but the bottom line is it doesn't matter if you have a coach that lives next door and 3 doors down and 10 doors down and how many ever in your community. So we hear that objection a lot, right? We hear that all the time, like, oh, there's so many coaches and I'm in a small town. She's like, forget it. That means nothing. Outwork your competition. It doesn't matter who else is around you. So your work ethic, that is her number one. That was my number 1 takeaway anyway. Gary Vee, probably the most favorite speaker of all, although they were all absolutely superb. Gary Vee, my takeaway from him is stop being lazy. Like, he called us out legit. 90% of you will not do the work. That's why you're here. You're dreaming, you're hoping, you're wishing, all that stuff, but you won't do the work. You won't go home and do the work because you're thinking, what is this person going to think of me? What is that person going to think of me? I'm scared. It's fearful, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you're not going to do the work. And that's what's wrong with our today's society. So just quit being lazy. And if you don't know how to do something, because we all have roadblocks, like Dawn, she did some video on her hoedown. I'm like, how did she create that? Like, what did she do? And somebody asked her and she was like, iMovie. Okay, well, I'm not sure about iMovie. So guess what? Gary Vee says, Google it. Don't let it be a stumbling block. Figure it out. Nobody's going to figure it out for you. So if you want this business to work, you have to figure it out. Don't be lazy. Go after it and figure it out. And then my third one, and I hope nobody else is talking on this, so stop me if you are, whoever's speaking. Social media. Find your platform and kill it. Gary Vee says Snapchat. Snapchat's where it's at, blah, blah, blah. I think we were all kind of panicky, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to use Snapchat. I'm not really versed in it. I'm killing it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever your platform is. And he's like, it's up and coming. It's up and coming. So I kind of took away like, oh my gosh, I've got to figure out the Snapchat and I got to figure out this and that. And I got all this stuff to figure out. And then I came home and I heard Chalene talk about a new podcast, which if you're not listening to Chalene's podcast, you're missing out because they're absolutely phenomenal. The Chalene Show. She did like a 34-minute on Snapchat versus Facebook and Instagram. And she said, forget Snapchat. Don't worry about Snapchat. Snapchat is for the people who have a bazillion followers, like a bazillion. So once you have those followers locked and loaded, now you're doing the personal little tidbits with Snapchat. Snapchat is not a platform at this time that is going to find you new followers. And why is that? Because you're hard to find. Unless they see your name on another platform. I have somebody peeking in. Unless they see your name on another platform, Facebook or Instagram, they're not going to find you on Snapchat. It's hard to find people on Snapchat. So her advice as of August 2016 is to forget about Snapchat. Have fun with it, play with it, five minutes a day, she said, spend on it. The rest of the time, figure your platform out. And what platform is that? It's the one that you have the most followers on today. That's where you need to go today. You can build, say I have more followers on Facebook. Facebook is where I'm going to work. Instagram is where I'm going to improve along with Facebook. Those kind of go hand in hand. Snapchat's going to be for fun. So that's a huge, huge takeaway. I kind of was like, whew, awesome. I don't have to learn yet another platform because I have all this stuff. So my takeaway for you is crush the platform you're already in. Forget what Gary Vee says, and focus in and do better with that. Figure out your iMovies, figure out any other Fandastical things that you're seeing coaches doing. Get to work on that. Keep your blinders on so that you're not, going in 10 different directions. And that's the other thing that I do an analogy with my campaign. I can totally relate this back to the Business After Summit. During my campaign, I had a gal running against me. And you know what? Throughout my entire campaign, I never looked at her campaign. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And what is she doing? Oh my gosh, she's got more signs out than me, or she's got this, she's got that. And oh my gosh. No, I kept my blinders on, I kept my head down, and I kept focused. And you know what? I got 80% of the votes. That's huge. And we can correlate that right back to our business. So I guess my takeaway is figure out a social media platform for you today. Figure it out and go kill it.
Thank you, Julie. And congratulations again on being reelected.
Yeah, thanks.
You must have been like drawing everything out of my brain. I love that you shared that nugget. I'm so excited that you shared that because everyone got hot on Snapchat when Gary Vee's like, go get on Snapchat. And then, you know what I saw today on Instagram?
Yeah, I know.
See it? Okay.
Yes.
So Instagram now has, what's it called? Instagram stories or something. And it's the same thing as Snapchat. You can share a story and it goes away in 24 hours. So now
did you see Shalene's like, oh, Instagram, this and that? Did you see her little spoof she did?
No.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I might have to go and see her now.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, we're going to hear from Kristen. Now, I know she just popped on, so I'm hoping that she is still there. She is. Awesome. She's unmuted even. Kristen is one of Julie's personally sponsored coach, and you heard that they had a bonding road trip over 9 hours. 9 hours, you guys. They drove, and then some. I think Julie had to go a little bit further. 9 hours they drove together to get to Nashville. That is dedication, and it was so awesome to hear that they spent that time together. So Kristen, would love to hear what you got from Summit and what we can apply to our business going forward, being here in the know.
Awesome. So can you hear me first of all? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm actually going to feed a little bit off of what Colin said earlier. I can't remember who exactly said what, but one thing I remember Tracy Morrow said, which I never knew about her. And Julie's like, what? You don't know her? So I have to start kind of checking her out. But what she said that really hit home to me is to be empowered to be you. So many times we follow what other coaches are doing, and we feel that if they're a top coach like Melanie or Janelle, all the top coaches, we feel like, or some of us may feel the need to copy what they're doing because they are a top coach. And what she said is to be empowered to be you. So you have to be authentic to who you are. And instead of comparing, you have to tell your story. So not just copying what they're doing that's working for them, but to really be authentic to who you are and do you. Shaun T kind of followed that up. Like I was like wanting to sob with Shaun T because I was just floored. I don't know. I mean, never knew his whole entire background. Obviously still don't know all of it, but what he actually said is you have to be raw. He used the example of the glass house. And he said that if what you show isn't what people would see, if you lived in a glass house, then don't post it. Like, I think sometimes we just show like what we think people want to see, but really when we are raw and real about us and about what we do and about those, like Colin said, those daily things that we do, we have to show that we are real people. Because if we want people to do what we're doing as far as recruiting, we have to show that we're real people and that they can do it too. And I think that if we act like we're super people and we only show the good things and that we don't have a story or to act like we're perfect, then people aren't going to be able to relate to us. So we really have to make sure that we are relatable to what other people are doing. the first day, and I was trying to flip back, and I really can't remember who was saying this, but it was on Friday in the morning session. One of the women said that she was just kind of going through the coaching, the workout posts, eating, and then she made a connection to Disney. She loves Disney. And once she started posting about Disney, everyone's like, oh my gosh, and they could relate to her. She then said that, there's Beachbody coaches everywhere. People can go to the website and just buy Beachbody products. People can go on an infomercial and just buy Beachbody products, but people can buy the products anywhere, I guess is the whole point. But you have to make them believe and trust in you. If you're basically selling yourself. You're not selling the products. You're selling the relatability, the trust, the belief in you instead of the products, because you want people working with you, and you have to make it fun and exciting, but also be real and raw with your stories that you tell too. So I think that sometimes I even caught up and say, oh, well, what would be really good? And it's like, shoot, I have to post what's real in my life at that time. And she was talking about like the recruiting part of it. And like Colin said, kind of sprinkling in that, what we do on a normal basis and how we kind of add coaching to our everyday. And they said that you have to show that you're having fun. Think about what would stop you in the Facebook feed of what you're checking out. So what would catch your eye? What would be exciting? You have to show that you're having fun with it. And I mean, we've heard, I don't know how many times, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you have to be fun with it. You have to be excited with it. You have to show that, but you also have to be real and to show what you are doing on an everyday basis so that people can actually relate to what you're doing and think that maybe they could do it too. So my biggest takeaway is to just do you, show the raw, real, authentic, not faking it and making it look all nice and pretty. And that make sure that people can build that trust in who you are so that they feel the need to connect with you and they can relate to you. So my, I guess, call to action would be to look back in your post and to see if you're making yourself relatable to people. And also think about, like, when you make your post, think of the people you're trying to speak to, so that you're not just saying, okay, I need you all to do this. Try to think of your key challenger or your key coach of what those things would look like. What would you, I'm trying to think of the word. The attributes that they would have, and make sure that you're talking to that kind of person so that when people read it, they're like, oh, this is totally me who they're talking to. So just relate to your people.
I love that you use the example of the Disney, because I feel like people don't think about those little pieces about themselves. Like, if you love Disney, then you should talk about it, because you'll probably get people coming out from all over the place.
Right.
It's the same as when I shifted my posts and stuff relating to breastfeeding moms, and it was amazing, the shift and how I started interacting with people. And one thing, just to piggyback off Kristen, because I also want anyone else that that went to Summit and had something different than anyone shared that would love to share. I would love for you guys to hop on and say what nugget you walked away with. So let me know if you want to share. But really quick to piggyback off Kristen about being authentic and being yourself and speaking to your audience. One of them spoke, I forget who said it, but it might have been, I just had it, now I lost it, but I don't want to waste any more time. If you post something like a call to action, an invite to your challenge group or to coaching, and it's a complete flop, nobody shows up, nobody responds, delete it. I thought that was the greatest piece of advice from top coaches, is delete the post, because nobody wants to come to your Instagram and find that you've got like all these challenge groups starting, clean groups starting, and no interaction on them, because it'll just kind of be a want. So delete it and then move on. So I thought that was a really great thing that I cataloged and I had to jump in and say.
Can I say one more thing?
Yep.
One more thing that I remembered is they said that if you have a like page, do not hide behind your like page. So I know that a lot of times I just post on my like page, and back when I created it, I invited some friends and they never liked it. And so they said to post on your regular page too. Now, it might not be as much as your like page, but if you have some friends that don't like your like page or whoever's checking things out. Because sometimes if your friends comment and then your friends of friends comment who don't even know about your like page, that can also let people see what you're doing on a daily basis too. But if you only post maybe 1 or 2 times a week, they might not really understand everything about it because they only see those random posts if they even come across their news feed. So feel free to post on your personal page as well as your like page.
Good one. Awesome.
Yeah, I had a couple. I know that's surprising.
Weird. I was just about to introduce you, but you just go right on ahead there, Dawn.
One of the things that Kristen said, because it was the notes that I had from the same section, as you're scrolling through, and I know Carla made a fantastic post today with Kiana, and just kind of talking about, and she reframed it and kind of debunked the whole pyramid idea, the pyramid scheme. But basically, one of the things that I took away was, as you see things like that, as you find stuff that makes you stop, or you look at all of like the junk email that you get, that you know you opened some of that junk email, and you don't know why. Like there's something catchy in the title. They talked about keeping a file, like file those away, like set up a document so that when you have to write an email or you have to write a post, like you have that stuff on file so that you're not having to rack your brain. So I thought that was super important. They talked a lot about, guys, we're the secret ingredient. Like we know there's a ton of Beachbody coaches out there, but why are people coming to you? Because you're being consistent and you're doing the stuff you need to do. And we don't need the whole product of the product spiel over and over again. But like people need to know what you're doing. Like just because you're a Beachbody coach doesn't mean you're working your business. And that's what I'm finding. I'm finding that I'm connecting with people that know a ton of Beachbody coaches, but they don't see them actively working. They don't see them actively doing things. And like Kristen said, like you can order on the Beachbody website, but you want to draw them in because they're being drawn into you. I did have a couple. I'm going to go real quick. A couple of things that I think a lot of us are getting stuck in as we're building teams is that how much time we're spending trying to focus on our team members as opposed to how much time we're focusing on recruiting. Like just about everyone on here, maybe with the exception of maybe 2 people or so, like we should be focusing on recruiting and not worrying about doing all these specific team things. Like that's what Taryn has set up for us. And I know for Christine and I, that was a huge realization. We're trying to focus so much on our downline and not bringing more people in and tapping into what Taryn has. You know, we were talking about, I said, you know, we need to get a call together and talk to our team about Summit. Taryn has a call to talk to our team about Summit, get our teammates on here. So I think, and I don't know if anybody else started falling into that trap because now you have members and you have to do something with them. Let's see. The other key that Kristen was highlighting a little bit is we need to, when we're inviting people, we need to be talking like we're talking to one person. Not like, hey, everybody out there, I'm looking for, you know, who wants to join me? Like, no, speak like you're speaking exactly to one person, like that target person. And I know Taryn has a ton of great social media stuff out there. But the other thing is like all of our posts need to have a call to action. And I'm terrible at having that call to action post. But we want to be speaking to one person and act like we're inviting one person. Like I'm inviting you, like I'm inviting that tired mom who needs more energy. Or I'm inviting that, for me, it's that former college athlete that got fat. Like we stopped playing sports and we got fat. And that's who like I'm attracting. So it's like, you know, that's my market. So you want to be talking like when you see it, like, oh, you're talking to me specifically. The other big takeaway was like, obviously we know social media is huge and I don't know how many of you actually have a social media plan and I don't. And I know we're constantly hearing post 2 to 3 times a day or whatever, but like we need to plan that out and what those posts are and be super intentional with those posts. You know, we want to make sure that we're sprinkling in business opportunity. You know, some people are saying every week, some people are saying every day. To me, it depends on how much you're posting. If you're posting 5 times a day, you should be having, you know, a business post in there at some point in the day. You know, talk about, and not saying, hey, join my business opportunity, but talk about the things you're doing for your business. You know, today I was sitting on my lawnmower drinking my shake, listening to personal development. You know, that's what I posted. That's my business post for the day, whatever. So we need to have like a more intentional, focused plan. And I know my success partner got on my case about that, and she's got one ready, and I don't yet. I will by Monday. Hold on, I got a couple more. Sorry, Taryn. Luckily, I didn't.
Cue the music. Do, 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 do. Oh, ready.
I might be done. Maybe I'm almost done. Oh, okay. So the other real key that I took away, there's two more big ones. Okay, the first one is we cannot make small compromises. And that was during Melanie Mitro's, and for me, that's a big deal. If anybody was around me or followed my social media, I made not just small compromises with my nutrition, but fairly large compromises this week. But basically she was saying, like, don't make small compromises. Like, don't slack off a little bit one day because, I mean, you know that with your workouts. You don't work out for 2 to 3 days. It's so hard to bring it back in. So don't make those small compromises because they turn into big ones later. And the other takeaway, and I know everybody has a different philosophy about challenge groups and who they allow in challenge groups and how they run challenge groups. And this was not specifically said, but I don't know how many people caught it. At least 3 of the top 10 coaches that I've listened to between that week and on past calls, top 10 coaches, their first program and their first challenge group they were in, they did not purchase the program. They borrowed it from a friend. They got it off of Amazon. They found it on eBay. And I think there's so many coaches out there saying you have to buy a challenge pack to be in my challenge group. And that's great. I understand. Like, Melanie Mitro should never let somebody in her challenge group that doesn't buy a challenge pack because she's got how many people trying to get in it. But if you don't have like 20 people and you're trying to narrow it down to 5, like, we need to make sure that there's a place for those. Maybe it's not your challenge group. Maybe you're not calling it your challenge group because you want to hype up that experience for your challengers. But like, we need to be super mindful because Melanie Mitro did not buy her first. I don't even think she bought her first 2 programs. Like, I think she got her first 2 programs that she borrowed from somebody. And I know there was at least one other specifically this week that mentioned, because I turned to Christine and I said, that's another one that didn't. And I mean, how many of you out there know Andy? Andy Johnson. Well, he's one of Christine's personally sponsored coaches. Guess what? He didn't purchase his program from her, but they got connected because it was given to him as a gift and she was willing to bring him into her challenge group. Like, if she followed that philosophy that so many people are putting out there, she'd be missing out on a great diamond. Beachbody would be missing out on freaking Melanie Mitro. Just saying. Anyway, those are my nuggets. I'm done now. Drop.
Done. Love it. Always got good stuff.
Whoops. Doesn't Dawn want to talk about success partners?
She's gonna do a team call. I'm gonna make her.
Tell you that was the, if anybody was in the Danielle, I want to know actually Carla wasn't in our room. Carla, did you have the Danielle Julie talk, or did anybody have a different other than Danielle Julie's? Okay, because that got weird. Just saying, it got so weird and uncomfortable and weird.
Okay, so Taryn, I do have just one more little tidbit.
Okay, go.
Okay, so what happens at Summit is absolutely, it's crazy. So I didn't really know Dawn or Christine. You know, I saw them in the New Wave and whatever. So, you know, as we're dorking around looking for Taryn, we run into Dawn and Christine at the back of the room. And, you know, so we didn't get to sit with them that time. Well, then the next time we sat with them, we started kind of just chatting it up and like, what's your story and what's your story? And my point is the power of words, the power of a connection. Now, I'm just like probably most of you. To talk to people face to face, you know, it's kind of a little uncomfortable unless you're comfortable with the person, right? Well, these girls were essentially strangers. Like, I had no clue. But because we had that common thread of Beachbody, and it doesn't even have to be another coach that you're talking to. I'm talking about a participant. If you can find a common thread and get a little bit comfortable, then you start talking. So I guess I shared my story with Dawn and Christine, and I don't even know if Kristen really knew very much of my story. I talked about it like this little bit, my struggles. And Dawn said to me, this is what she said to me: just do it. That is all she said to me. Just do it. And I was like, you know what? She's right. Like, forget all this stuff, peel back the layers, and just do it. So don't discount communication, one-on-one communication, because you don't have to spend a lot of time together. You don't have to give a big, long, blah, blah, blah. Be confident, be encouraging, and be to the point, I guess. I don't know. I guess, you know, at that moment, Dawn, I don't know if you realized it or not, but I was kind of like, she's right. I've got to do it. Now I know she's going to keep me accountable because she also, along with Kristen and Christine and Taryn, I got pushed into Country Heat and ordered it and wasn't going to do it. Now I'm ready to get down, hoe down, or whatever it is. But anyway, it's it's our communication. We can't run from it. We have to embrace it, and we have to be vulnerable. So I guess, Dawn, thanks for giving me that little push, because really, that's what I needed to hear from a complete stranger who believed in me and will hold my feet to the fire. So don't discount that ever. Just do it. That's all you had to say. So thanks.
That Nike guy is smart.
Can I say one more thing too?
Yeah.
Based off what Julie said, but I kind of thought she was going somewhere else with it. Although it was a good story. They also, and I can't remember who said it, is don't discount talking to your potential people or your challengers. Like, get on the phone or do a voice message on Messenger instead of always typing. I think like social media is great, but we hide behind it so many times. Like, get in people. Like, for me, sending an email or whatever is so much like, you can kind of hide behind that, but actually like talking to someone and making that connection. So just like Julie made the connection with Dawn in that minute, that wouldn't have been as powerful if they were messaging each other back and forth. Like, actually being in front of each other and getting that energy, just like the energy we all got when we were there in front of people. So I think it's powerful to talk to your friends, your potential, whatever, your contacts in person as much as possible too, or even on the phone, like hearing each other's words.
Yep. So true. I think voice is such a vital piece that we tend to want to dismiss because it's easier to hide behind typing. Real quick, because Carla has a few things, if she's still on. I know she did a call, you guys, that she gave her recap. So she'll probably give us the cliff notes on anything that wasn't brought up tonight, but and she could share that on our team page, which I think she did. So if you want to get the extended version of what Carla shared, it's on there. But there's 3 things that I need to make sure that I mention that was definitely brought up woven through the coaches that shared tonight. And it was validated by Gary V. We talk about him a lot. So if you guys are annoyed with us, sorry, but go follow him. He's actually like in your face. But he said we have to have patience. So we come out of Summit and we're super excited. Or if you didn't go to Summit, but you're still on the Summit high of everything that we're talking about and all these cool things. And okay, I registered, I'm excited. But you have to be patient. Okay. So we get too caught up in, oh my God, I want to be 15-star diamond. But it didn't happen in 2 weeks. Like, what the heck's wrong with my business? And I didn't get it in 6 months. Why not? I'm not Superstar Diamond, and I've been doing this for 8 years, okay? You have your own story. You have your own things that happen. You have to be patient, and you have to take ownership of what you do with this business and what you put into it. So like Melanie Mitro said, you have to be the one that works harder than your competition, okay? So you have to be patient. Number 2, be authentic. Okay, that was already said. Be authentic. Don't be somebody you think your audience needs to hear. I just needed to make sure that I reframed that, or I revalidated that, because I thought that was so important. It's so simple, but it's true. Be authentic. Be you. If you're goofy and crazy and you love Disney, then you need to tell people about it. All right. And then lastly, this was on the Tracy Morrow day that she talked. And I think it was so important because I've been having conversations with a few of the coaches, and a lot of us stepped away from our families. A lot of us put our kids in the care of our spouse, or had to hire sitters, or had to coordinate and do a whole bunch of hokey things to make sure that it all happened so we could go and do this, right? Have a conversation with your spouse, okay? Talk to your significant other or somebody that you trust and admire, even if you don't have children. Communicate with them. Let them know what you want to get out of this and what your expectations are and how it can work together in your relationship, okay? If you want them to be a part of this. Because I have seen relationships get torn and severed and marriages crumble and have friction because they did not communicate. They were working too much of their Beachbody business and not spending enough time and attention with their family or their significant others. So schedule your time, talk to your spouse, and communicate with them. That is probably the common denominator that these coaches that are successful have. Yes, they work hard and they work hard in their competition, but they also set the standard with their spouse of what to expect of them. Hey, you know what, honey? I'm going to have a call tonight. Can you manage the kids? Okay. Or I really want to spend this many hours on Saturday and Sunday to work the business. Can we work that into our family schedule? What can we do outside and around that to make sure that it doesn't compromise our relationship and that of the children? Okay. So I thought that was a really great takeaway that Tracy shared. And I want you guys to apply that. And even if you don't have anyone that you really need to talk around and talk to about, is scheduling your own Beachbody time, because it's super easy to get burnt out. And then that's when you're like, you know what, this business doesn't work. I'm not 16-star diamond in, 1 week. And speaking of, family friendly, look at that little cherub. Anyways, so that's what I wanted to share. And so Carla, I'm going to unmute you, girlfriend, if you are still on and ready to share a couple numbers, and then we'll wrap it up, because I know we've been kind of going on and on. You guys probably got the gist of the enthusiasm. And so Carla's going to have something different for you guys to take away as well. So Mommy. Hold on. You can hear mommy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So the one thing I wanted to share with you guys is I do a lot of posts that are meant to give people breadcrumbs. So what Dawn was talking about before was one thing you can do with your social media posts is, what are the 5 things that are the biggest objections to anything whenever you're talking to somebody about becoming a coach or joining your challenge group? And you mention them first, telling a story. So you mentioned how you overcame that objection, how it feel, felt, found. Okay, if you don't know what feel, felt, found is, better look that up. How you understand how people feel about blah. You felt the same way, or you knew somebody who felt the same way, but what you found was a resolution. So that's what Dawn was talking about, and I did make that post today. The huge thing that I loved was when Vito was talking about the difference between a CEO and a coach. So I'm going to give you 5 things that you can post about on social media, whatever is your platform, that will help you recruit coaches. You've got to sell these 5 freedoms. So most of the time, when people have a business that they have to go to, they have to ask when they can go to lunch. If they have a little one that's at school that gets sick, they have to ask if they can go to that little one's school. They have to ask like a 5-year-old permission to go do anything. So one of the freedoms is the freedom of location. Today, this is my office today. If you're at the beach with your kids, this is my office today. Okay? The second one was time. And that kind of ties in with what I just said. You have freedom of time. Show them that. The third freedom is financial freedom. I left my job because I needed to have the freedom of location and the freedom of time. For you, those of you who don't know it, my mom got really ill, and my full-time job, which I was never going to quit because I loved it, wouldn't let me go to be in her hospital room. It didn't want me to be there. Okay? I needed those 2 freedoms, and I had the financial freedom to overcome those other 2 freedoms, those other 2 cages, actually, in corporate world. People. Oh my gosh, how many people are posting constantly? These are my brand new friends. I just met these people. I love them. This is so much fun. People, because we're a people-oriented business. And the last one is purpose. Everybody wants to feel like their life has meaning and they have purpose. So if you post those 5 freedoms, I guarantee you're going to find somebody that would want to join you for the next sneak peek. That's it.
Love you, Carla. You always have the best stuff. So thank you. Thank you. And thank you to Kristen and Julie and Colin and Don and Carla again, and anyone that shared on the side there. Sorry, I'm too loud apparently. Thank you guys for sharing. If there's anything you guys missed, I'm recording it, so I'm going to post in our group some things to remember. Super Saturday is Saturday or Sunday, wherever. Check your market. Register for it. Monday, 2 things are starting. Super, super important. Okay, our 10-day new coach internship is starting. So if you have new coaches, I'm going to create a new group, and we're going to put them in there, and they're going to be focused on that. It's going to be 10 days, and they're going to get some constant nuggets and takeaways and stuff that they're going to apply. Okay. And then second is that our oh my God, what was the second thing? I think maybe I'm thinking of my other my 21-day fix.
Is it your sneak peek?
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, duh. I was like, I just had it. Thank you, Dawn. The sneak peek. the coach sneak peek is going to be live on a Facebook event. So I really would like to have some new faces participate and share a little section of it. So we usually cover 5 subjects. If you feel like, hey, you know what, now's my time, I'd love to jump on and just get a little vulnerable, be raw. Does not have to be perfect. Don't expect it. Don't think it has to be scripted and it has to be professional. It just has to be you, okay? Because someone's going to relate to you, and especially if you're inviting people. So get your invites out. I'll create the event, and you can invite people to it so they can be in there and they get reminded about it, any posts and stuff. And then we're going to go live on Facebook video on Monday, okay? So those are my final things, you guys. Have a fantastic night. Thank you for spending your evening and for all the energy that was shared tonight. I love you guys so much. And we'll be catching up in the next couple days on our Coach Sneak Peek. Woo! Night, guys.